now tuned in to the number one recap show for the United Football League right here on United Football Media. We are back and better than ever. This is Tell Me About It Playoffs Edition. Our Final Four is going down this weekend. We just wrapped up the game, just fresh off this San Antonio-St. Louis game in here, which was a bit of a shocker how it went down. But we will start off with Saturday night. It looked so close to my pick coming to fruition. Things were feeling so good in the first half. And then the Michigan Panthers and Mikey Nolan, they decided to come out in the second half, and they decided to write a book. And the book, hopefully not a bestseller, is How to Blow a Double-Digit Lead as Quickly as Possible. Because I don't know what the hell I witnessed in the second half of that playoff game. Panthers had everything going their way. They come out. Not only do they completely abandon the run game, inexplicably, because it's one of the worst pass pro offensive lines going against one of the best pass rushes in the UFL. Arguably the best pass rush in the UFL. That wasn't inexplicable enough to not run the ball while you have a double-digit lead when you have that big of a mismatch. You double down. You put some extra syrup on that turd sandwich of game management plan by doing it when your quarterback is completely melting down. Danny Etling with a meltdown for the ages. 3 interceptions in the third quarter. Fumbles lost. And they just keep dropping back and throwing the ball. I do not understand what we witnessed in that game the other day. I don't know what they were thinking. I was screaming about it as it was going on. You know, it was a 15-point lead going into the half, and it was remarked that, you know, it's crazy that how bad this has been, and yet it's only down 15. And I said in our group chat for the UFM, I said, you know, that does not bode well for the Panthers pulling this off, because that's kind of what that says to you is if a team has had as bad as a half as the Stallions had in that first half, and they're still just down by 15, that does not bode well for the remaining of the game being able to close it out. And what did I say with my guy FBI Tugboat a few weeks ago on Polar Opposites? What did I say on this show? I said every single time the Panthers have had an opportunity to show us that they are the upper echelon of the league, they go ahead and let that opportunity just go flying right by their heads. And this was a case of Panthers gonna Panther. I think we're there with this team at this point, because every single time, there's a term in college football that was around for a long time called Clemsoning. That's what the Panthers are starting to remind me of, because every time they have the opportunity to separate themselves and say, hey, we belong, they completely crap down their legs like they did in the second half of this game. It made absolutely no sense. Etling with the 3 picks. There was fumbles. The offensive line, the pass pro was struggling mightily again against one heck of a pass rush. You're talking about going against a team who benched their quarterback in the second half because he was playing so bad. The quarterback was so bad that he got benched, and y'all still managed to get washed in the second half. A 28-0 run by the Stallions. Stallions wins 31-18. They advance to the championship game in front of, again, a minimal crowd. There in Landstuhl, Germany for the Rhine Fire. They were making Birmingham look. They were making Birmingham real jealous with their crowd size this weekend. Just asking for people down there in the SEC. It means more country to beat the crowds in Germany for their football games. That's all I'm looking for a playoff game. You know, crazy happenings. Stallions 28-0 run with their backup quarterback in. Real good luxury having a backup quarterback like Matt Corral, who came in and was smoking it, to be fair, after he came in and threw a pick right off the bat. And then the Panthers threw one right back to him. You can only give a great team so many chances. And we saw that in spades on Saturday. Tay, tell me about it.
Yeah, when I was watching the game, I'm like, oh wow, the Panthers actually they got this. Like they look like they were the better team in the first half. You know, they were up, but not like I was seeing social media posts like kind of giving it to the Panthers, and you almost kind of knew like this Panthers aren't that kind of team to just put all your chips in. Like, you know, they never really they're a good team, but they're
They'll
not
start
that
dancing the
great.
Charleston now. Yep. Not that kind of team.
Like they're not that team. You just, you know, they got it. So, you know, you had to keep watching. And then you keep watching the Stallions make a QB change. So that's how the Panthers are playing good. If you make a team change their quarterback, I mean, that's something. They make a QB change. Matt Corral comes in, does well. They scored 28 in a row. And then, you know, the season's over. Just that fast. You were up. You were dominating the game. And everything just went out the window. And it makes you wonder next week who's the quarterback. You know, who's the quarterback? I would say Martinez. Me personally, just by him playing, you know, so well the entire year. He just had a bad game at the wrong time. It wasn't horrible, like it could have been worse, but it makes you wonder who's the quarterback, you know.
Well, it also, I don't know. I don't know if it's tough to go off of one game, off of one half, but you almost got to wonder if this calls the MVP situation into question as well.
Yeah,
we're going to give the MVP to a guy who got benched in the most important game of the year.
Yeah, I thought that was yeah. I definitely thought about that, but I think they got it. They got to start him at least. You know,
yeah.
If he plays like the MVP, then we won't see Matt Crowd next week. If Martinez comes out like so, I mean, Crowd he got to come in. You know, they had the luxury, got the best backup in the league.
When you talk MVP, right? Where would a team be without their player? Well, we saw where the Stallions would be without Adrian Martinez in the second half of this game, winning the game.
Yep.
Same cannot be said for the Renegades. Just saying, Luis Perez, number one in every passing stat. Where would the Renegades be without him? Axe, quickly. Man, what the hell happened here? 5 running calls, 5 running plays in the second half for a team that was up double digits. Wow, their quarterback was throwing interception after interception. What are we doing?
Yeah, I really don't understand the game plan that the Panthers were running. Defense came out really strong, but it's only so many turnovers that you can withstand before you get tired and you start gassing out, especially since Corral came in and was precise. Shout out to Corral for having the maturity and staying ready.
Yeah.
Come in and throw 9 for 11, especially after the first pick.
Yeah.
Like, staying ready. It was real impressive.
Hell of a performance by him.
So I was impressed by that. Michigan, they played good defense, but it's hard to overcome that many turnovers. And the 6 turnovers in the third quarter was really wild to see.
Yeah. Crazy football. True thoughts on this diabolical meltdown by the Panthers?
Never seen anything quite like it. Yeah. Never seen anything quite like it in the UFL this year. I think we've seen teams kind of take themselves out the game, mess themselves up a little bit, deviate from what's worked, but you know, in a game this big, I don't understand what the Panthers were doing. The Stallions, it's weird. The Stallions are 9-1. They've been 10-1 if you consider this, and then they're like the best team, and they're headed into a championship. But the question that I have is, now what? This is it, and they don't look like they're 100% ready for everything. And that
that
is,
performance, what happened against the
yeah.
Panthers, it will not happen against the San Antonio Brahmas. I will tell you that right now.
Yeah, and so Martinez was the MVP all season, and I'm just a little confused on the changes made. And I mean, I wouldn't say confused. It was just like, man, okay, this is not working. Let's go a different route. And then things started clicking. Things started working. And when things started clicking and started working, you do what you got to do. And I think that was what, for me, it really kind of it made me step back and go, that plus 1600 looks so much better now than it's ever looked, because I don't have a lot of faith in the Stallions. I think the Panthers played a really good game in the first half, and then they just deviated away from that, and they just couldn't get it together. I don't know if it's a little bit of nerves, maybe, because this is a big game and you had the opportunity and you're going against the best team. I don't know if that's what I don't know what it was.
Yeah, sometimes you start overthinking things.
Yeah, and so it was unfortunate for the Panthers, but like I said, when the season started, I think most of us expected the Stallions to find their way into the championship game. I don't think how you get to the championship game doesn't really matter, right? It's just as long as you get there. So, it wasn't pretty, but wins aren't always pretty. So, and losses aren't always ugly. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think there's something to build off of, obviously, for the Stallions with the, you have to have your practices and see between Matt Corral and Adrian Martinez, like, who do you want to go with? I would say, of course, you want to go with Martinez more than likely, but who knows? Matt Corral hasn't got a lot of run, the latter half of the season, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. Honestly, like, really interesting to see what they do. But like I said, not the best game from the Stallions, but they managed to get it done. At the end of the day, that's it. As long as you get it done, you get it done. That's it.
That's right. Big shout to Sayosi Mariner. Stepped up huge for the Panthers over the last few weeks. Had another good game, 4 catches, 60 yards, touchdown. Awesome to see him emerge. It's awesome to see any player emerge late in the season, possibly get themselves some looks for moving on to the NFL, or it's assuring themselves a spot coming back next year. Our next game just wrapped. San Antonio Brahmas 25, St. Louis Battlehawks 15. Boy, really all you can say here. What a game just filled with mental errors from the Battlehawks. They could not get it together in the first half. So 2 jumping offsides. I said one time, during the 49ers game, it worked. It was Solomon Thomas, defensive tackle we had drafted in the first round. It was his first game, and I believe it was against the Vikings. And Kirk Cousins comes up and does the we're faking like we're going to go for it, but we're not actually going to go for it. We're going to try and draw you off sides and get the first down that way. And it worked. And I remember saying to my friend, I've never seen that work before in my entire life. Thousands of football games watched. Well, guess what? I saw it work a second time tonight. The second time in my life I ever saw it work. Somehow, some way that worked against the Battlehawks. There's 2 plays in the first half where the Battlehawks had them 3rd and 4th down, and on a penalty gave them a first down, dropped passes, blown opportunities, missed. I mean, it was just thing after thing after thing after thing. It all piled up. You're not going to get the job done against a team that is as complete as the San Antonio Brahmas are. Solid game. Chase Garbers, solid game for our guy, John Trey Kirkland. Solid game for John Lovett. Started putting the hurt on them in the second half with the running game. They really started to lean on them. It got a little bit dicey there late in the third quarter, but those ended up being somewhat fluky plays that got St. Louis back in a position to play 90% of this game. was them not even being able to get out of the starting blocks. And the San Antonio Brahmas pretty much moving the ball at will, being in control of this thing. Brahmas move on to the championship. Interesting way for it to turn out, because I'm interested to see what this crowd situation is going to be next week there in St. Louis for the championship. It's funny because, right, last year the game was hosted where? San Antonio would have had a home field. And then this year it looked like there was a good chance we were going to get a home team in the championship game, and didn't work out again because of San Antonio. Interesting stuff. So I hope it goes great. I hope it's awesome. I hope there's 30,000 people in there. But that would require a lot of heavy lifting by the San Antonio team, because Birmingham can't even show up at their own stadium in their own home backyard, let alone travel to St. Louis for this game. So probably going to be, if whatever's in there, it's probably going to be a pretty decent San Antonio home field advantage. Shout out to our guys down there in Brahma Bullpen, man. I know they're going to be having a good old time on that show this week. Definitely check that out. Buck and Scout, interested to see their thoughts on the big comeback for the Stallions on their pod. Stallions Run right here on United Football Media. And of course, our guy FBI Tugboat, he's going to do a great job of getting the sads out for the Michigan Panthers on the PAWD podcast here on United Football Media. San Antonio over St. Louis. Our man Noah, we'll see his breakdown of this thing. I'm sure he's going to be talking about a ton of mental mistakes by St. Louis. The wrong time for this to be happening. Tay, tell me about it.
Yeah, Battlehawks, they played their worst game of the season. You can't do that in the playoffs because it's not the NBA. If in football you lose a game in the playoffs, you're done. And that's just what happened today. The Brahmas, they absolutely killed it on the run game. They did whatever they wanted. They were breaking off big runs, short runs, just moving the chains.
McFarland, longest run of the season in the
69
UFL,
yards, yep.
Busting it out.
Yeah, that put a knife in it right there. That kind of ended the game for me right there. But yeah, the Brahmas, that plus 1,600 that they were talking about, I don't think they're the championship team, but they had a point. I give them that. They had a point. It was a long shot, but they made it. But yeah, like I said,
they're a championship team, brother. That's what I want to know.
Because the team they're playing is better than them.
I mean,
they just beat them. They just beat them.
San Antonio came out to start. Like, it could have been a larger lead.
Y'all all better pick San Antonio then. Don't tell me this and then y'all need to pick San Antonio.
I'm just saying what happened. Like, they was driving multiple times in that first half.
Yeah, but
they had the goal line interception. This could have been a larger margin of victory. Like, they decisively won this game. It wasn't like they got by the skin of their teeth. Like, we're not going to discredit Wade Phillips and his staff.
There you go. Tell me about it.
X. All right, you better pick.
We're not going to discredit the Brahmas here. Like, okay. I admit I was wrong about them, so I'm going to give them their flowers. They earned this championship, so that's why I had to stop you there.
Well, I think that nobody saw Chase Garbers coming, and nobody saw what this defense ended up being, which is excellent. The commentary team called them the best pass rush in the league. I'm not sure I would slam dunk that. I still think probably I'd take the Stallions, but they're right up there, and they are fast and they are hard hitting. This defense is nasty business. And like we said, if the Stallions come out messing around next week like they did with the Panthers, there isn't going to be a comeback like that against this Brahmas defense. I'm telling you that right now. What'd you think of the game, Axe?
Just thought they asserted themselves. I was really impressed. Like, the fact they went on the road and they took last week, like I said last week, they technically kind of won. If it wasn't for that super challenge, they would have won that game. So they were confident in what they could do against St. Louis. So they came out,
and we said that right here on this show. They have to feel like, hey, we can beat them. We feel like we beat them already, and then that came out with definitely that in their minds because, like you said, they kind of ran it up on them, did whatever they wanted in most of this game.
Yeah, they got a lot of pressure in the backfield too, as they do consistently. Like they got playmakers on all three levels, and McCarron really wasn't comfortable throughout the game. In St. Louis, they kind of beat themselves. I know Keem Butler, he didn't really get his feet down well on one possession, like for the missed touchdown. So just missed opportunities for St. Louis. They did left a lot of points on the board. But once again, credit to San Antonio. They earned that win. Chase Garbers playing well. Defense, I say playmakers on all three levels. We've mentioned the players, Williams, just amazing.
If it isn't for a big boo-boo on the mesh point between Garbers and McFarland late in the game, this is kind of a blowout.
Facts. That and the goal line interception.
Yeah.
This would have been like really nasty.
They were out there pretty much. Garbers 200 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Like you said, goal line interception. If not for that, this is even worse. Between McFarland and Lovett, over 200 yards rushing, 6.5 yards of carry between the two of them, just doing whatever. And the defense was destroying everything, this high-powered St. Louis offense. So, absolutely, man. Drew, what'd you think?
I think losing a game the way that they lost the game last week stuck with them. And we said this, I think we all said this last week. And it's like, okay, we know we can beat them. Let's go in. Like, okay, they got the last regular season win against us. That doesn't matter at all. We were already set to, play them anyway. Let's go in their house, show them what we did and what we could have done to them last week. Our defense is going to be better than what they can compete with. AJ McCarron obviously was not healthy. That also plays a role in this as well. He was not fully healthy. He did not look great. He said he felt like, he said he felt. And so when you have that happening on national TV, which I love that. I love that. But it's like when you have those moments when you're watching a quarterback who is obviously not playing like himself, everything else mentally for a team that's got their quarterback not 100% is going to suffer. And then when you got Akeem Butler not doing what we're used to seeing him do, that becomes an issue, and that it sets the table for a team like the Brahmas, who has an amazing defense, to go out there and do what they do best, and that's they slow you down. They that pass rush is dangerous. You have to evolve and adjust to what they're giving you, and the Battlehawks just didn't have it tonight. And I think it is fitting. You can't script it better than this from a narrative standpoint going into the championship game for this Brahmas team, who a lot of people counted them out at the beginning of the year. Here they are, plus 1,600. And here they are beating the Battlehawks, who a lot of people thought they could have been the best team in the UFL or the second best team right there with the Stallions. They not only dominated majority of this game outside of a couple of stupid mistakes, obviously, but they mostly dominated this game. And they are still the only team that holds a victory over the team that they'll face for the championship. And then for the Stallions, of course, which we're about to get into, the one team that beat you this year stands in your way of a champ. You cannot script it better than that, my friends. That's football right there. So I'm not mad about the Battlehawks not making it, because the Battlehawks have looked like a shell of themselves these last couple of weeks, where the Brahmas are looking more and more like this. They could do it. The Stallions haven't looked great either. So that's, it's like, if the Brahmas do this, if you didn't take that plus 1,600, we hinted that it might be worth a shot. Might have been worth a 10 spot, 20 spot, depending on how you feel. It might, if you had it, might have been worth it. So
call of the year if it ends up working out, because we did say that at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, we did.
So speaking of, is it gonna be the call of the year? I am going with yes. I think the Brahmas are gonna pull it off. The Stallions haven't looked great in weeks. They lost to the Battlehawks, or they lost to the Brahmas, almost lost to the Panthers, and then super almost lost to the Panthers, should have lost to the Panthers this week, allowed themselves to be down by 15. It's not going to play out that way. If they don't play their best football, they're going to get ran through by these Brahmas, by this defense, by this offense, by Wade. If the Stallions don't get right, they're going to get beat up. Even if they do, I think the Brahmas got enough. I think they're going to get it done. They're the hot team right now. Went in St. Louis, whooped the brakes off of them in the Battle Dome, the toughest environment in the league. I'm going Brahmas. Tay, what do you think?
No, it's not the call of the year. No, I'm not picking the Brahmas. I think they should start Adrian Martinez. And either way, they can start whoever. They can start me at quarterback, and the Stallions are still gonna win. I don't know. I just don't see it in the Brahmas. I don't know what it is. They just don't.
Man.
I just don't see championship DNA in them. Like I can't explain it. Like I feel like the Stallions do. They've been the best team. I don't know why we're acting like there's some 4-6 team that barely got by. They've been the best team all year long. I mean, why veer away from that now? I don't see why not. They're still winning regardless of who, how, and what. They still have been winning. You know, they made it to the championship for a reason. So, as the best team in regular season, like we all had, you know, after week 10. But yeah, I'm going with the Stallions. It's just no reason not to.
All right, Axe, what do you think?
I think it's gonna be a tight, contested game. I'm on the
I already
fence
know. I already know he's about to pick the Stallion because he started hedging it right off.
Yeah, that's
the
what
bat.
I'm saying. You can't say all
Like,
that. He can't.
Stallions are consistent. Like, even though like they haven't quote unquote played well, they went on a 28-0 run. Like that shows they play well against adversity. They've been in all types of games. They could blow you out. They could come back. I'm gonna roll with the Stallions. It's gonna be a very close game. Very, very close game. I think the X factor is gonna be Sternberger against like the linebacking core and the safeties of San Antonio. I think that's gonna be the key matchup to look at. The Sternberger, like I said before, probably best tight end, one of like between him, Sal Canella, however you feel. Like the award said Sternberger, but you know, we'll see. He's gonna be. It's tough him in San Antonio because San Antonio's defense flies around, and I don't know which quarterback they're going to go with. So that's why I'm kind of on the fence here. Like I'm assuming they're going to go with Martinez, but I didn't expect him to get benched. Like, what if he throws Corral in and Corral's not as mobile? Like, and with that Brahmas pass rush, you know that's. It depends which quarterback plays. Honestly, I feel like Martinez would be the better matchup, but I don't know. They lost last. I don't know. Stallions, but by single. It's a single-digit game. That's my final thing. Stallions single-digit game. Gonna be intriguing, but gonna be hard hitting. Probably low scoring. I don't see Chase Garbers. I see Kirkland getting off, but I don't see like 20 plus points. I think it's gonna be below 20 points for both teams. Just my opinion.
True's here to make some money. I can tell.
I'm not here to make any money because
don't have me cashing this check. But don't have me cashing this ticket by myself, bro.
Look, I didn't have no money when the season started, and I wasn't able to legally bet anyway at that time because I believe I was in a state where I couldn't legally bet at the time. So I am not going to be the one cashing. And so it's two parts of this. One, the Brahmas have had an amazing season, a season that surprised everybody. They were underdogs for the beginning of the year. They could very well pull this off.
Wow.
But retribution is something that is very strong. And I'm speaking from a personal perspective here. Is that when you've taken a loss and you saw who helped and aided in that loss, retribution is important. You want that get back. So I feel like when you have the MVP on your team, You got to ride with your MVP. And if your MVP came out there and didn't do as well in a game where he needed to do well, I trust my MVP to go out there the next week and get it done. And that is what boils down to it. Adrian Martinez has been amazing. He's a dual threat. There's a lot of things he can do. I think talent-wise, the Stallions are clearly a little bit better than the Brahmas. The only thing that does make me slightly tip the scales in the favors of the Brahmas is that for the last 2 weeks, the Brahmas have played in this building that they're in. It feels like home, right? It could feel like home right now. And that is the one thing. I am like I said, my heart says Stallions because they want their get back. You're the only team we lost to. We can't lose twice to you. That means we can't beat you.
And you make a point there, right? Because we made the point earlier, like, oh, this is the only team that knows mentally, like, hey, we can beat them. We did it. But on the other hand, Skip Holtz can get up there in front of them and say, those guys think that they're better than you. Like, that's how he can, because we just said the Stallions have been underperforming for weeks now. How do you wake them back up? Those guys think that they're better than you, right? They beat everyone, but now they get to finally play a team who beat them, and they can feel like we want to get that back. Those guys think that they're better than you. They beat you. Show them that they're not. Let's get this championship. That is definitely a way that it could play out.
There is one thing that does concern me about the Stallions on top of all of this. Fatigue. As the year rolls on and you've been rolling over teams, it's like the 16-0 Patriots, right? They were like they were cooking, and then it's like you slowly start to see little chinks in the armor as they got closer. They got to the Super Bowl and they got beat. And it's like that for a lot of 73-win Golden State Warriors team. Fatigue will break you down. Obviously, much differently with the UFL situation, but to go. Was it 8-0 to start the season, to be consistent like that,
and then 28-0 roll,
and then it's like all these things that you're having to do to get back into the game, to win these games, to escape these games, to be 9 or 10-1. Yeah. You could be a little exhausted.
To that Patriot situation,
it could be
mentally, if anything.
Yeah, so you're now going against a team that you've had. Just 2 weeks ago had a game. Well, 3 weeks ago by the time the championship game happened. But a couple weeks ago against a team that beat you and a team that you want to beat. Because if you can beat them, you're a champion again. But if you can't beat them, you got to live with that for the whole offseason. You got to live with that. That we were better than everybody else except them. So I expect the Stallions to come out and play their best football. The problem is, I also expect the Brahmas to come out and be comfortable. But once again, the Brahmas could take the Stallions slightly light because it's like, we beat them, we know how to beat them. And you never want to underestimate a giant. You just don't want to underestimate it. And it's a tough call. I'm going to go Stallions just because retribution is the theme for the summer. So getting your retribution, that's the thing for the summer.
We're getting it kicked off. Well, either way, though, it could work because it's retribution for the Stallions losing, but also it's retribution for everybody who counted out the Brahmas at the beginning of the year, plus 1,600. There we go.
Flip a coin. It's a flip a coin game. I just want to see a classic game. I want to see a great game. I don't want to blow out. I don't want to blow out. Like if the Stallions come out and blow them out, Brahmas blow out, I don't want that. Go hard. This is the last game of the season for both of you. Go hard. Play your best. Absolutely. Defenses show up. It could be a 6-6, 7-7 game or 8-8, whatever. Y'all can go out there 8-8 game, whatever. You can go out there and be tight the whole game and it come down to a field goal. I want that. Take your defenses, show up. Your offense can show up too, but it's hard against both got good. These are really two good defenses. And defense wins championships. We've said this. It's always been said. So I want to see how well these teams do because I know we're talking. A lot of us talking about the offensive players on both sides who can show up, but that defense on both of those teams is going to be the difference maker. In that case, that makes me look at the Brahmas a little bit again because that Brahmas defense is Whew, hey, I mean, what they did to the battlehawks. Yeah. So I'm still going Stallions, man. I'm still going Stallions. For your sake, though, I hope that 16 plus 1,600 ticket cashes, brother.
So it looks like I stand alone with my pick. I'm excited for to get reinforcements from the Brahma bullpen later on this week. Reinforcements like at the Alamo, they're going to come in. They're going to have my back, I'm sure. Just like the United Football Media stands alone in coverage of spring football. Maybe more than that coming up soon. You know, we're hitting the offseason. Who knows what the plans are going to be? United Football Media, no one is doing it like them. We got pods for every team. We got debate shows. We got fantasy coverage. Check us out here. All your spring football coverage. This has been United Football Media. Tell me about it.